15th, and Councilman David Cohn of Indian Trail, North Carolina, has given an open invitation to a meeting to discuss the future of Indian Trail and what's going on in the government. And we're going in today to record what exactly his plans are and what he wants to do for the future of Indian Trail. And so he's gathered together a bunch of concerned citizens, and so we're going to head in. They're about to begin, and we'll see what happens.
Send emails, and here's a good point on that, to briefly touch on that. If it's not on the tip of somebody's tongue, they're not going to think about it. They don't really care about it. And it has been pushed and pushed off and pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And I've gone as far as to ask if I could go with our homeowner association and their lawyers and meet with our lawyer in town and meet with our town manager and the lawyers of the town, and let's just sit down at one table and get it worked out. And because what's happening now is it's costing this, I think it costs money. And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that might know any better back in the back. Am I correct by saying what I'm saying? Do you know if I'm correct on everything?
You looking at me?
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah. But what we need to do is keep on, because it keeps getting pushed off. And then, you know, I don't blame people for getting frustrated, and I'm frustrated. And a lot of it's legal. A lot of it's, you know, lawyers, talking to lawyers, and going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand the question is, who do we email?
Email me, email the town, email the town council people, and say, what are you going to do? What are we going to do about our roads? Email the town council people. And also, you know, our HOA, we need to get something done about it. Real quickly, there was an accident yesterday up here at the intersection of Poplar and Bonterra. I saw lots of things written about it. I know it's a very tender subject with that intersection. I've tried very hard to get something done about it, but just on the accident part yesterday, had nothing to do with the intersection. I just want to let you guys know that. It happened at 6:49 in the morning. A school teacher was making a right-hand turn into the school, and an assistant principal from either the middle school or the high school was looking in the floorboard of their car and did not see the car in front of them as it was turning and rear-ended them. So that could have happened anywhere, anytime, any place. So in all fairness to that intersection, the intersection did not cause that accident.
Okay, but in all fairness to what we're saying here is that I left my house at 7:03 and I crossed that intersection and I got across okay. Coming back, there were cars in the entrance lane to go to the school, and so my concern is if there is ever an emergency at the school, there's only one way in and one way out. If there were to have been a child that had whatever medical emergency at the school at that point yesterday morning, or a teacher for that matter, or the principal, there was no way that emergency personnel could have gotten to that child or that teacher. So one way in and one way out is wrong, and I'm just saying. I know the accident happened.
I couldn't agree more, but I, of course, didn't have nothing to do with going schools.
I know. I think that I speak for everyone when I say it's not a matter of when it happened. I got Sean Emerson's email too, where we did the traffic study, and it's not feasible at this time to put a stoplight at this intersection. But what Sean Emerson doesn't realize is that that's my child over there, and you know, it's important to us that you know that we want to take care of one way in, one way out. Whatever you're doing, not you personally. I know it's North Carolina Department of Transportation, but it's also the town of Indian Trail not fighting for us. We have said we want this road taken care of. We want that intersection fixed. We want a way in and we want a way out. That's all I'm saying. Is yesterday was a dangerous situation, and you know what? That wasn't included in the 5-year traffic study that we did. And, you know, Sean Everson wasn't even on the road doing the traffic study, but I was on the road watching. And when I came back across to get back to Montero, there was a fire truck parked in our entrance. I couldn't get back across. He was waving me forward, but there was no way for me to go. So it's a dangerous thing that, hey, we just want to fix. And I know you're doing your best, David, personally. We appreciate you.
No, thank you, and hopefully we keep trying. Yes.
One of the things David could mention, that if the people came to the meetings and signs up for public comment, they have to listen to. I know some people have tried it for a long time, but the more people that come, the more attention it's going to get.
But not everybody's schedule is geared toward the time that the meetings are held.
You also have Gary Savoy, who's a crypto representative and part of the DOT. That's the person you make complaints to. He's the one that has an influence. He's the one who speaks to those in power in Charlotte.
Who's that?
Gary Savoy, Indian Trail Town Council. Complain to him, tell him to do his job. He's a representative for the town of Indian Trail on behalf of Indian Trail.
Thank you.
Okay, and thanks for the questions. I didn't mean, I got my back to Mark Wyman. Mark's here tonight too, he's gonna speak. And Mark, I didn't mean to turn my back to you or not introduce you, I just didn't see you behind me and didn't say anything, and I apologize. My wife's always getting mad at me sometimes when I'm actually back to me. And, boy, I listen when she talks too. Try to anyway. Now that fell over, it would be.
That's not me.
Oh, okay. It's not made to hold on that way, it is. Okay, I want to start by talking about last night's town council meeting. Several things happened in last night's town council meeting. And I do realize that a lot of people in here really don't follow what happens on a town council meeting. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. In last night's meeting, we had a law enforcement study done in town. Oh God, this has been going on for years. And the reason we had a law enforcement study done is because there was a lot of people in town who were concerned about whether or not we should have a police department or should we have let the sheriff who handles and is our police department. And right now we have 21 deputies from the sheriff's department who are our police department. Our sheriff's department, and this is not only my opinion, it's also the opinion of a company called PERF. We just spent, as a town, $40,000 to have a study on what's best for our town. They came back overwhelmingly and said we are very lucky that we have the sheriff's department that does what they do. And I just want to explain some of the advantages of our sheriff's department. Our sheriff's department has 21 deputies, but we also get the services of a total sheriff's department. And here's an example. Something happens in our neighborhood, and let's say a child gets lost. Let's say somebody doesn't come home at night. Let's say somebody wandered off. I've seen it actually happen in our neighborhood. And my wife go, oh my gosh, there's ATVs, I mean, they were swarming. Well, we get the whole sheriff's department. We get everything. We get the ATVs, we get the detectives, we get everything that comes with it, and we're not paying for it. So it really serves the purpose. If we need 50 people, we get 50 of them. They send 50 here. So we really have a great service with our sheriff's department. We have a guy that runs our sheriff's department. His name is Lieutenant Cohn, who actually really cares about our town. And you see he rides through the neighborhood. He comes in. If you ever talk to him, man, just pull up a chair because he's going to talk to you for a long time. I mean, he loves to talk, but he loves to talk because he really cares about you. So those are a lot of advantages. But last night we finished up a study that we had with PERF, which is a Chicago company that came in and did a study. And basically, the study said that you're getting a bang for your buck. That we're saving about $300,000 a year by using the sheriff's department. We're getting a Mercedes opposed to a Volkswagen on top of it. So it's really a good thing. In last night's meeting, they had sent us a preliminary draft. a draft, basically, of everything that they saw. And they asked the town council to read through the draft, send them back questions, and you know, just do a good analysis of it, and send it back, and they would finalize it. Well, what we did was, or what I did, is I turned it over to the sheriff's department and let them look at it, and they read it, and they go, well, there's a whole lot of inconsistencies in this. And actually, it should say that you're saving about $400,000 or $500,000 instead of about $3 to make it easy. Well, last night, we wanted to send that back to them, but our council voted no, that it was done. That was done. And basically what I'm saying is we spent $40,000 and got an incomplete law enforcement study. And the reason being, and this is my opinion, the reason being is the study didn't come back the way a lot of them wanted it to come back. They wanted it to come back saying that to be in favor of a police department. And it didn't. So enough said on that last night. Last night we also, to let you know, we're going to get a Publix, and I know that. You know that we're going to get a Publix in town. It's going to be across the street from the Sun Valley High School. And there's a big empty lot over there. It's going to be a very nice shopping center. And I know it excites a lot of people because they like Publix. I'm excited about it. And the important thing is, it's what the people want. So I'm glad that we're getting it. Now, I did ask one question last night at the town council meeting, and the only thing that really worries me about it is it is directly across the street from Sun Valley High School. Now, you've got a shopping center on one side, and you got a school on the other. I'm worried about a kid that's gonna walk across the street sometime. And I know they've got crosswalks, but how many kids always follow their crosswalks? And I did ask a question last night, how much would it cost to build a bridge, walking bridge? We've seen them over just for the heck of it. And I got no interest in that. There was absolutely no interest in anybody, nobody really cared. It was like, let's build it. Fine, I want to build it too. But I would even invest the town's money. I said, let's invest the town's money if we have to do this, because it's not worth one kid running out in the street getting run over because there's a lot to do across the street. Then,
David, there in the town of Warner Robins, Georgia, there's a crossover from the high school over to the parking lot. And of course, it was built quite a few years ago, so the cost would not be the same, but it would be a ballpark idea of what it is. And it's a whole lot better to build that thing before the kid gets killed. I get tired of them taking care of things after the kid is dead.
right. And those are a lot of the things that I'm worried about. And I would have liked to see
Well, David Drace was with you on that. He's been worried about traffic with those.
he has. And David Grace actually never wanted a 4-lane road in front of the school, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a good point, Linda. Okay.
Do some research there if you want to.
Okay, super. So we're getting the Publix. I mean, I know that's exciting to you guys. Also, the last thing that happened last night is we had to say goodbye to our town clerk last night, and her name was Peggy Piontek. Been with the town for many years. A wonderful woman who loved the town of Indian Trail. But she left. I don't know if any of you are aware that we have lost a lot of employees in Indian Trail over the last couple of years. And she was just another employee to leave. About probably less than a year ago, we had a big problem with employees. We had a person, her name was Janice Cook, and she left the town, and she was our tax lady. And she collected taxes for the town. And she'd done it for many years. And Janice, I believe, was about 65 years old. And they eventually came to Janice and asked her, when are you going to retire? Which you're not supposed to do that. But they didn't really want her to work there anymore. So anyway, she left. But when she left, she did something very interesting. She wrote a letter. And she wrote a long letter. And it was read at the council. Because she asked the mayor to read it, because Janice is 65 65 years old. She's about this tall, and she was just nervous about reading it. The mayor read the letter, and she talked about how she has been mistreated over the years as an employee. Now, everybody has disgruntled employees. I'm saying that could happen anywhere. But the real thing behind it that really bothered me, and I know some of you are shaking your head because you know a lot about this, is soon after she did that, other employees started writing. And they said, these were past employees that used to work there, and said, Ms. Cook is 100% right, that I was mistreated, and it all had actually happened with 4 other people. Now, I knew none of those people. I knew none of them. I'd met them all. You know, I'd met Janice Cook before. I'd met them all, but never really knew any of them before. So, I really felt that that was a problem. Not looking for a problem, because I didn't ask for the problem to come to me anyway, or come to anybody else. But what happened with that is, it made a newspaper. And I want to, just while this is on the top of my head, if you guys want to find out good news, you got to read the Enquirer Journal. And the reason I'm saying that, this is not an advertising for them, is they bring local news. They will tell you what's happening. I got the newspaper article of what happened that time at that meeting, and it goes on to tell you about all the different letters that were written and about what happened. And so we went into closed session as a council. And we said, we're going to take the town manager and we're going to discuss what's going on in our town. Why are all these people complaining? Why do we have so many people leaving? There's so many people leaving our town, so many good employees. Well, much to my surprise, when we went into closed session, there was an apology letter that had already been written by the fellow council members to the people who they said were doing all the bullying, which was our town manager and which was our finance manager. And I thought that was strange. You know, why instead of going into this meeting, why would you have an apology letter? You know, some of the council members had met before I ever got there, and instead, when we got to this meeting, I didn't think it was right, because the town manager lambasted everybody that had ever said anything about it. Lambasted them. Just you know, they're this and they're that, and they drink, and they were this, that, and the other, without one of them being in the room. And I thought, not good, not good. So there's a reason behind that. And everything that I'm telling you tonight is kind of going towards one direction. So don't let me lose you here, because I could lose you. If I lose you, just let me know. But I do have that. I do have that newspaper article. And the reason I'm telling you this is sometimes you just wouldn't believe it unless somebody told you that some of these things happen. And they do. And I see you shaking your head, and they do happen. And it's very disappointing. I got in some trouble over that. I really did. I got in some trouble, because I'm not supposed to disclose what happens in a closed session meeting. But I couldn't live with the fact that what happened. But I want to read you a couple little things out of this, that what some of our council people said about it, and some of the alarming things. We'll get around to the town hall in about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But this is leading up to the town hall. It goes in this article. It basically, the town manager said, and I'm going to read this little quick paragraph. Fibus is our town manager. Fibus said the reason these people were complaining is because before he got there, the employees were playing hockey, having barbecues, and going out with drinks with the council people. Cohn said he was painting a picture that Janice Cook, a 65-year-old woman who worked there for 14 years, didn't like him because he made her stop playing hockey and barbecue. Now, you got to scratch your head on that one a little bit, you know? and say, you know, and we laugh at that, but that's actually, that is 100% the truth. I wanted to read too in here what the real reason that nothing was done about that. The real reason that nothing was done and we moved on is because our finances and our town manager, we couldn't build a town hall without one. And I just wanted you to hear what one of our town council people said. And I'm not going to disclose his name. Shirley, thank you for coming. Closed session got a little hot, but the conflict does not warrant Cohn speaking publicly about what happened in closed session. The councilman confirmed that the lady who's the finance director, I'm not going to say her name, that the finance director threatened to resign because this lady had said something about it. And the 4 other people had said something about it. He said council approved a pre-written letter in closed session. So we went into closed session, not to my knowledge, but we went into a closed session that the other council members had written a pre-written apology to the finance director and the town manager. And the council members did raise their voice when discussing the letter. Now here's some very interesting facts. The council's letter stated that the town council has reviewed and investigated the issues presented in the letter with the town manager. This councilman said he didn't remember that part. Well, that's what the whole letter was about. How could you not remember that part? Also, he didn't remember that regarding the cited investigation. The council member said he had no idea what that was. Well, we just been in a $2.5 meeting. So how would you not know what that was? It was something that you just voted on. Okay. Earlier in the interview, he said, I have no reason there is to believe that there's a morale problem in our town. Later, he said, we need to do something about the morale problem in our town. Now, I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this because, and I see people smiling, it breaks my heart. It does. People are losing their jobs because of that. And you know, how can you say that? I mean, that's contradicting yourself in the same sentence. He went on to say he did not believe allegations by Cook, Morano, Deere, Sorensen, that Fabus, who's our town manager, and the finance director displayed no bullying behavior. Now let me tell you something about all of this. And there's a point, and if you're wondering, what's he getting to, there's going to be a point behind all this, okay? Trust me. There's going to be a point behind all this. Let me ask you something. Not one council person called one of the people that sent a letter and complained. Not one. Not one. Now what does that tell you? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's bad wrong. And it has festered inside of me where I want to call a meeting and I want to tell the people of this town what's going on in this town. It's easy to do the right thing. I'm telling you, it's easy to do the right thing. That's not the right thing to do. So what happens? She moves on, she retires, and nothing is done about it. We apologize to these people because, and listen, on top of that, the first thing the other council members wanted to know when we went into closed session is what did we do wrong by reading that letter? The town attorney, who never sides with anything that I ever want to do, sided with me and said there was absolutely nothing done wrong. So we were apologizing for absolutely nothing. And that's what made it even more bizarre. You know, it made it even more bizarre, but it says in here, the bottom line is, we did that because it says in this article, I don't want to have to find it, we need these people to build our town hall. We need them for capital, and it's written in here. Find it. Would you, Kathy? If you got your, find it. It's written right there. But he said we need these people. Treat the employees how you want to treat them. But we need these people to build our buildings. Yes.
Are these letters a matter of public record?
Sure. I got them right here. They're all a matter of public record.
We need to know where it's at.
Yeah.
Running the town.
Joe Biden.
Do you want me to give you an idea who's running the town? I'm going to tell you who's running the town. This is this. And I'm here to state facts. And I want to state facts. This is not a fact. This is an opinion. Our town manager runs our town.
Okay, let me ask you.
And everybody here that goes to our meetings knows that our town manager runs our town.
Question. Who does he work for?
He works for the town council.
Who do you work for?
I work for you.
Thank you.
And I've always worked for you, and I always will work for you. So
Exactly at what point does this idiot need to be reminded who he works for?
So you have 3 council members that are strong enough to do so, to do something about it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think something needs to be done. I really do.
November.
All right, thank you very much.
So I'm gonna move on from that, and that is kind of a heartbreak, but it is true. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I said this all along. I'm not a town manager. It is not my job to tell a town manager how to run a town. That is not mine. I always looked at the town manager like a coach. You know, it's like you got an owner of a team, and we kind of like own the team, maybe. You know, or it's kind of like the Coach Belichick of New England Patriots.
Good football team.
One of the best. I don't like him, but he's one of the best football coaches that ever lived. But do you think that he is the town manager? He is the town manager.
What's his job description?
His job description is to make that team the best team in the world he can make it. And he does, and he's great. But if he steps out of line, he's going to get fired. And that's why you see coaches get fired all the time. But I'm not going to fire him because he's doing a good job. He's doing a great job. He's a fantastic coach. And that's kind of what, I don't know the ins and outs of a town manager. I don't. But when these things pop up, I know there should be some kind of that. All I asked for in that was that an independent agency come in and find out what was going on. And that was voted down 4-1. Just independent. I mean, yes, Shirley.
Did you not just say a while ago that y'all voted in closed session?
No, I'm sorry, we did not. We came out of closed session, you can't do
I
that.
know.
If I did say that, I'm sorry, you can't do
I
that.
knew you couldn't do that, that's why.
But they actually voted before they ever got into closed session, so anyway. But anyway, so now, okay, we're kind of building up to the climax here, so, also, I want to talk about some other things in our town that's really that bothers me. We had a couple of people run, and this is an election year, okay, coming up. The last 2 guys that got in took money from developers, okay? There's nothing illegal about taking money from developers. Nothing illegal about it. It's just not the right thing to do. You know, I've never taken a dime from a developer. I wouldn't even talk to taking a dime from a developer, but I am for progressing, making Indian Trail a better place, but I'm not going to take a dime from a developer. These guys took thousands of dollars from developers or developer employees. One of the first moves they made when they got into council was built 2,000 apartments, or approximately 2,000 apartments, in downtown Indian Trail. They approved it. They're not being built. They approved to be built. I'm sorry. Thank you. They approved almost 2,000 apartments to be built. And they're being built by the developers that gave them the money. something wrong with that picture. There's a lot wrong with that picture. There's a lot wrong with that picture. But it's not illegal, and it happens all the time. Ms. Higgins here has got up many times in the meetings and asked them to recluse themselves from voting. And they wouldn't even think about it. They wouldn't even think about it. But let me tell you the most interesting thing about that happened. I happened to go with some people, and thank you. We went door to door down Plyler Road. And went house to house to house to house to house and said, hey, if you guys want it, I got no problem with it. Okay? I got no problem with it. We went through the neighborhoods knocking on doors, and door after door after door it says, please don't build these apartments in my neighborhood. Please don't. There's a reason I'm telling you this. We had public comments the night of the vote. You'll never forget that. It was 110 degrees in that room that night. And it was probably 110 on purpose. And that meeting lasted forever. 4 hours. And they tried to get those people to leave, and it was standing room only. And they came up one after another, after another, after another, after another, and said, don't build those apartments. Please don't build those apartments. The vote came, not one comment from the other three town council people. They all three raised their hand. The developers got what they wanted. The developers got what they wanted. Now, why is that important? We're going to build a toll road down here. You know? And not only are they going to build a toll road, I want to have a say-so in what they're going to, when they build an off-ramp down here, what goes on it. You know? And you do too. Do you want to say, no, I don't want 2,000 apartments being built next to mine? You have a right to say what you want. I'm supposed to work for you. Obviously, everybody doesn't think that way. Everybody doesn't think that way. And that's the reason I'm telling you this. Because if we don't do something now, if we don't get on a path of change, this is a freight train. I'm telling you. The town is on a freight train right now. It's on a freight train. It has its committees that these guys are putting on there on the committees, and they're telling people about what I'm getting ready to talk about. It's a town hall. They're getting ready to town hall. And I do understand people wanting a town hall. We are growing immensely here. This town is growing. But you know what? We built parks in this town almost 3 years ago. We're still working on them. And I'll tell you what, this man and me, and this man and me, and a lot of you guys in here, this man and me stood back to back, them telling them what's great about parks, and bad about parks, and I was telling people what's good about parks. Okay? We battled. We got mad with each other. I called Jonathan a jackass. Okay? And I'm sorry, and I apologize to him.
Apology accepted.
Okay. I called Jonathan a jackass one day when we were standing at the pole.
My precinct 1, though.
But I'm going to tell you what, we did it the right way. At least we put it on a referendum. We let the people vote on it. I tried to put our town hall on a referendum. Not last meeting, but a couple of meetings ago.
March 10th.
March 10th. Got voted down. That is. Why? It gives you, it's $8.5 million, or it's going to be $8.5 million. You know what the parks were?
Yeah.
$8.5 million. For some reason, $8.5 million before and $8.5 million now are different. But let me tell you what. Because there is a difference. The difference is the two guys that took development.
I see you on the neighbor.
Yeah, probably still got the
I've got some questions. First, I want to thank you for holding this forum. I'm glad that you did that. And when you started off, you talked about accountability. And again, I think that's very important. And in that vein, I have a few questions for you. The first question I have,
I know I am.
don't worry, I don't have a long scroll. But the first question I have for you, and I'll start off with a statement. You've said during your 2011 campaign and at council meetings, on the IT Factor newsletter, and in your open invitation for this evening, that you would answer any questions or address any concerns the attendees may have about this town council or town business. And yet you've deliberately ignored my recent email questions over the last month and a half. When you finally decided to answer one of them, you said you didn't initially respond because you didn't think my question was serious enough. Do you honestly expect those gathered here to seriously believe that you will respectfully answer any of their questions when you wouldn't answer mine respectfully if you bothered to answer at all? Since you won't answer my emails and I can't get my questions answered during council meetings, then I need to get my questions answered here. Question. Is it
Well,
true?
let me address that first, okay? I want to address this, and I think many of you know this. First of all, I did answer your email, and I was the only council person to answer. No other council
And I
person-
noted that in my emails.
No other council person answered your email. And the reason I didn't answer your email is when you send an email and you say that you're looking for something called an ice park, and you look for it for hours, and technically that's not true. You didn't look for an ice park for hours. That if it were a legitimate, and I want you to honestly, did you honestly look for an ice park for hours?
Not for hours, for about an hour. Just under an
Did you know what
hour.
the ice park really was, Jonathan? Did you really? There's a sign. What is it? It's an ice park. There's a sign down there that says ice park, and it points to extreme ice. So it's telling you where extreme ice is. So yeah. So first of all, you kind of let this whole thing go. And the reason I didn't answer you for a week was because, and when you resent your email, again, I sent you an email saying, Jonathan, I didn't think you were serious because I hope nobody looks for an ice park for hours when it says ice park and it points to extreme ice. I hope you really know where it is, and you're just trying to give me a hard time.
Well, no.
But okay.
Let me finish my questions here then. Is it true then that you voted to approve the wayfinding signs? If so, when?
Oh, I can't hear.
He asked if I voted to improve or approve the wayside. And I did. I certainly did. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly when that was. It was several years ago or close to 2 years ago.
So when you voted on that, did you know what would be on the wayfinding signs when you voted to approve them? If not, why did you approve to spend money on them, and how much did they cost?
Okay, well, I'll tell you why I approved them. First of all, I believed, and I still believe, that it is an enhancement to our town. If you go to Matthews, and if you go to some of these other towns, and you see wayfinding signs, now I'm going to tell you this, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not as happy with them as Matt. Do I like so much how they turned out? No, I'm not real tickled with how they turned out. But yes, I voted for them because it makes our town a prettier town. It makes our town a better place to live. And yes, I did vote and I did approve it, and I'm proud of that.
And when you voted on it, did you know what would be on those signs?
No, I had no idea what was going to be on those signs.
Okay, question. In no uncertain terms, do you know what the item ice park means? If so, what exactly is an ice park and where is it located at?
I'll tell you what an ice park is. An ice park is an arena. And let me tell you how I know that. Because when you sent the email, I actually looked it up. Because, I never heard the term ice park.
I
I've never heard that term. But let me tell you something. I knew what it meant when it was on the sign. When an ice park is on a sign and it points to extreme ice, I can figure out that that's where ice rinks are, and I'm not trying to be, because you accuse me of being The smart aleck, and I really wasn't trying to be a smart aleck.
Okay.
And so, no, I didn't know, but I figured it out rather quickly that ice park meant extreme ice, okay?
Skating rink.
Okay, so then the follow-up question to that is then,
Last question, Jonathan, and
well, I need to get to these because there's a very important
well,
point to
I
these.
really don't believe you guys will be here, but I'll be glad to.
Well, the reason why I'm asking this is because you didn't answer my emails, and I can't do
I
it
did
as town
answer your
councilman. You answered a few, but then you told me go to town hall for those
The only
answers.
time I told you to ask town hall, you asked me how much money it was to approve it, and I told you I didn't remember that if you called town hall, they'd tell you, and somebody would tell you. That's exactly my answer to you, and that was, and that's it.
So if you know in no uncertain terms what a nice park is, then why did you tell me that you only assumed to know what a nice park is? And if you knew, then why did you tell me? Then why did you tell me?
No, I don't want to leave on this note. I only assumed it, Jonathan, because it was pointing to an ice park.
Then-
Listen, I'm going to thank you guys. I'll answer your questions. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Listen, let's stick together. Let's pass emails out. Let's pass this on to Facebook. Change won't happen unless we make it happen.
I do. Just real quick, so in your opinion, or I should rather say, you know as a matter of fact then, that the ice park is Extreme Ice Center.
Yeah.
All right. So then, if the ice park is in fact Extreme Ice Center, then why didn't the town simply put Extreme Ice Center on the wayfinding signs?
I don't know, but I would have preferred that. I would have preferred that. And if your next question is, did I look at the sign? No, I did not. I didn't know that it wasn't on there. I just assumed it would be on there, and because I have no idea. And maybe, I'll be honest with you, Jonathan, maybe up north it's called an ice park or something, and maybe, I really don't know why it's called an ice
My
park.
follow-up question to that is then, is Extreme Ice Center a public or private organization?
It's a privately owned organization.
Okay. So, if the ice park is Extreme Ice Center, then why is a private business promoted on a tax-funded sign when you told me that the town did not build it?
Now run that question by.
If the ice park is Extreme Ice Center,
Okay.
then why is a private business promoted on a tax-funded sign when you told me that the town did not build it?
No, the town didn't build it. And I can only say this. If it was a private hospital built there would be a sign that would say hospital, because it would be a place of people need to know where it's at. Thousands of people go to Extreme Ice. Thousands of people come all the way from as far as Canada to come down here, drive down here. So it is a point of interest, and it's a big point of interest, just like the Richardsons may own Panther Stadium. Well, there's signs everywhere for Panther Stadium because, they've got 72,000 people that are going to, so they want to direct people to go in that, and that's why I believe it's that way.
Now, the wayfinding signs, though, those are taxpayer funded, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then, is it true that when the gateway signs were discussed, you asked if the town could provide paid advertising space for private businesses? What was the town attorney's response?
No, I didn't follow you there. What, the gateway sign?
The gateway signs say, "Welcome to Indian Trail,"
Right.
and you wanted to know if they could put advertising space on there that you could have advertising for private businesses. And what was the town attorney's response?
I'll be honest with you, and I'm just being straight up with you. I don't know. I don't remember that. I don't remember.
I was there, and the town attorney said no because that's illegal.
Okay. Well, and I don't believe that I asked that question. And if I did, I just don't remember. But I don't believe I asked that. Are you saying I asked that question? Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I don't remember asking that question.
And so then, if the town attorney said,
And if I did do that, it would be simply to raise money for our town. I mean, I wouldn't.
right, and I understand that. Now, so if the town attorney then said it was illegal to provide advertising space on the gateway signs for private businesses, doesn't it stand to reason that it's just as illegal to provide advertising space on a wayfinding sign at taxpayers' expenses?
Well, the main thing is you just said, it's not illegal to do that. It's not illegal to put those signs, I mean, it's done all over the country all the time.
So if it's not illegal, why aren't other private businesses put on the wayfinding signs?
First of all, you couldn't put every business on a wayfinding sign that
But that's
wanted on
beside
it.
the point. If a business,
But it's got to be a point of interest. Just what I was saying. If thousands of people want to go somewhere, it's a point of interest.
So,
you know, and
right,
let me
well,
let me finish this. Let me finish this. Okay, so if you're traveling through Charlotte and there's a sign that says Panther Stadium this way, this exit Panther Stadium or whatever, and you got marked Panther Stadium. There's 72,000 people going there that day. Marie's Hair Salon may be 4 down. Marie's Hair Salon, you know, might have, and everybody that goes to Marie's Hair Salon already goes there, and they don't, they're not people traveling from Greensboro to Georgia and all this to go there. So it's basically done as a convenience to the public.
okay, so let me follow that up with this question then
All right, last question, okay?
Well, I need to get through these, but you brought up
But hurry, because I got people waiting on me, okay?
But you brought up a point saying that the reason why you done it is because of point of interest and it brings thousands of people in. Well, I've heard...
I didn't say it brings thousands of people are already coming in.
Right, so with that logic then, I heard that the post office is probably going to close, and that is on a wayfinding sign, and thousands of people do not come from far and wide to go visit our post office, yet that's on a wayfinding sign.
Well, I think it needs to be a post office. I mean, if you didn't know where the post office was, I mean, that's another point of interest that people need to know where it is.
But
That's kind of like a hospital.
But thousands of people are not coming to that place.
I think thousands of people go to the hospital, post
People
office.
maybe in a local area, but you're not having people besides. It's
All
going
right,
to
last question, and I don't mean to go, but I got to go. I got people waiting on me.
Well, let me say this then. Is it true that Maureen Mulhall is the owner and general manager of Extreme Ice Center?
As far as I know, she is.
And
I'd never ask her. So.
And is it true that Maureen Mulhall is the committee chair of the Economic Development Advisory Committee for Indian Trail?
I do believe she is.
Is it true that as one of the council, you approved Maureen Mulhall to the EDAC?
I believe I did.
Don't you find it rather convenient that a committee chair of a government committee approved by you, designated to give advice to the town council about economic policies, also happens to own the private business that is directly benefiting from free
But she
publicity?
doesn't own the business. You just said own the business. She doesn't own the business.
I looked it up.
She does.
She was a co-founder.
Now, I'm not
of
aware
the
that she owns the business.
She was a co-founder of it. So that business directly benefits from free publicity at the expense of taxpayers. Do you find that rather convenient?
Well, I will say this about Maureen. I don't know her very well. I don't agree with her political. You know, she's happens to be somebody that's for a town hall. I'm not for a town hall. You know, I know she works very hard in our town. And just like I said before, Jonathan, it is a point of interest. I believe that if a point of interest should be on that where thousands of people go.
My final question is then, as a councilman, doesn't it concern you about the perception of undue influence upon the council by a committee member approved by you who potentially stands to gain personally from the economic advice they suggest you act on?
Well, let me ask you this. Does Jerry Richardson gain personally by having the Panthers' name on the sign to Panther Stadium?
But is he on an advisory committee directing the town?
It could be. I don't know. But my point of being is you know, I want people to know how to get to Extreme. I want to make it easier for them. Whether or not what she does on there, I'm thinking more just of Extreme Ice. You know, Maureen was not that when we approved the sign. She was not the chairman of the Economic Development Committee or whatever when we approved those signs. So that was done long before she was ever on there. So really, I don't see really how those two.
Well,
mesh.
it's a perception that she could potentially.
That's your perception. Now, this is your perception.
No, anyone who was following politics at any level could perceive an undue influence, not because of the way signings in and of themselves, but because she is in a position to make economic advice to the council that could directly benefit her. And the town paid for the advertising of her business, and then by chance, she also.
I really
is
don't
appointed
believe,
as
I
a
don't believe
chairperson.
I don't believe that by having, I don't believe that she profits because of it. I do not. I don't believe she profits because her name's on that sign. I don't believe I think it is strictly there, last thing I'm gonna say, is for convenience and to show people because thousands of people go, and that's all I.